Wednesday, September 21st, 2022. You are listening to the Daly Dose Sports Podcast, and I am your host, Clint Daly, coming to you from the Mile High City here in Denver, Colorado, and we are back for another week of talking sports with a dose of common sense. Hey, happy Wednesday to you. I hope your week is going well. Hope your week is off to a strong start. Hope everyone in your world is staying strong, staying healthy right now. And we have so much to get to today. But before we get to any of it, gotta touch on this. It was another wild week in the NFL. And we're going to be talking some NFL a little bit later on the dose. But I want you to think about this real quick. If I had told you that the New York Giants and the Miami Dolphins were going to be 2-0 right now, but that the Cincinnati Bengals and the Indianapolis Colts would not have even won a game yet this year, what is going on? For the first time in nearly 4,000 days, the Detroit Lions, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the New York Giants, and the New York Jets all won a game on the same day. I mean, who would have thought this could have happened? But wait, what if I told you that the top three quarterbacks in the league right now in terms of passing yardage were as follows? Tua Tagovailoa, Carson Wentz, and Joe Flacco. What is happening right now? Where are we? What year is it? It was a crazy week in the NFL. I mean, we see San Francisco 49ers quarterback Trey Lance. He goes down with a broken ankle, needs surgery. He's done for the year. In comes Jimmy Garoppolo, who we didn't even know if he was capable of throwing a ball after his shoulder surgery. But ready or not, in comes Jimmy G. And not only does he come in, he comes in and he looks sharp. He carved up the Seattle Seahawks on Monday like Russell Wilson couldn't do in Game 1. Speaking of Russell Wilson, he struggled again in the Denver Broncos' ugly win over the Houston Texans. I am actually convinced the Broncos need to change their mentality if they want to turn their season around for the better. Going to talk about that a little bit more in just a minute. And while the Indianapolis Colts that I picked to do big things this year look like steaming hot garbage right now, hey, my Philadelphia Eagles have me feeling pretty good. And by my Eagles, I mean Rob's Eagles, whatever. Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers quieted the haters on Sunday with a thumping of the Chicago Bears, who crashed back to earth after their Week 1 win. Here on the Dose, we told you before the season that the Bears, they had no receivers for quarterback Justin Fields. Well, here's a stat for you to keep in mind. On Sunday night against the Packers, the Chicago Bears attempted 11 passes total. That is the least attempts by a team since my Denver Broncos had to have wide receiver Kendall Hinton play quarterback because all the Broncos had COVID or tested positive for COVID or something. I don't know what happened. And once again, it was a week of wild comebacks and wild finishes in the NFL. The Miami Dolphins rallied from down 21 points to shock the Baltimore Ravens. The Dolphins actually scored 24 points in the fourth quarter. Now, are the Dolphins for real? Well, we're about to find out because they host the Buffalo Bills this coming week, who look strong again this week. The Arizona Cardinals came back from being down 20-0 at halftime to beat the Las Vegas Raiders in overtime. And little quarterback Kyler Murray ran around like a little kid playing tag to win the game. And then apparently after the game, he got slapped like a little kid by a fan in the stands. But without a doubt, the most unlikely finish took place when the New York Jets came back from a 30-17 deficit with less than 2 minutes to play behind like 58-year-old quarterback Joe Flacco. How does anyone let this happen? How do you let Joe Flacco and the New York Jets come back on you like that? This could only happen to the Cleveland Browns, right? Browns fans are so distraught, by the way, that instead of blaming their defense, who has already given up 55 points in just 2 games for the loss. They are blaming their running back, Nick Chubb, who scored a touchdown with under 2 minutes to play. They now say they wanted him to kneel down and run out the clock. And that's fine, as long as when he ran in the end zone, you weren't celebrating. But I bet you were. Now, here's a question that I have for you, Daily Dose listener. Is all of this bad stuff happening to Cleveland right now? Is it all karma for signing accused sexual deviant Deshaun Watson to a $230 million deal? Don't be ridiculous. Come on. Yeah, of course it is. Hey, before we jump in today, just want to remind you to be sure you're stopping by DailyDoseSports.com, where we have new articles going up every single week. We have links to the podcast. We have links to the video. And yes, we have links to the Daily Dose gear. If you need a Daily Dose t-shirt, you need a sweatshirt, you need a hoodie, you need a coffee mug, whatever you may need, you can go to DailyDoseSports.com and find links to get exactly what you need. But it's not just that, because we are putting up new articles every week. Spoke a little bit earlier about my Denver Broncos. I posted an article on Tuesday talking about what they specifically need to change if the Broncos want to get rolling. But then young Jimmy is posting articles on Thursdays. Always a good read there. Be sure you're stopping by DailyDoseSports.com each and every week to see the new things going on over there. Okay, YouTube, be sure you go over and you check out the rest of the podcast, because this week on The Dose, we had a live show. We had a number of guests come in. We talked about the Golovkin-Canelo fight, talked about whether or not it was a good fight, talked about did the judges get it right. But we also talked college football. A number of things going on in college football. Right now, if you had to pick the top 4 teams, who are you coming up with? Not as easy as you might think. We talked some NFL, a couple of NFL stories coming out. So we have a ton to get to on the Daily Dose. Be sure you go over and you check out the full podcast. I will leave a link here in the comments on YouTube for you. Hope you all are doing well. I will see you all next Wednesday. Have a great week.